Good afternoon, everybody. It's so wonderful to see so many of you on our webinar today. We've actually gotten such amazing feedback about being able to see and hear from Itzik Cohen, better known to all of us as Captain Ayub from the hit TV show Fouda. My name is Carol Feuerman. I'm the Development Officer and Head of Women's Division for the Jewish Federation of Greater Orlando. On behalf of the staff and the Board of Directors, I welcome you. I would like to personally thank those of you who chose to make a donation to Federation when you signed up today. All money raised from this event will be going directly to benefit programming for our sister city in Israel, Kiryat Motzkin. Federation is here to meet the needs of our community, and we are truly pleased to be able to bring you this special program today. With your support, we will continue to offer this type of exciting programming. So please continue to check our website, orlandojewishfed.org, for updates. I'm excited to let you know that the Jewish Federation of Sarasota, Manatee is partnering with us today. And I would like to introduce their program director, Trudy Krames.
Thank you, Carol. So as Carol said, my name is Trudy Krames, and I am the program director for the Jewish Federation of Sarasota Manatee. And I want to thank our friends in the Orlando Federation for this partnership for today's event. We're very excited and looking forward to a long future of lots of partnering and collaboration. And I have to echo Carol's sentiments. We really appreciate everyone's participation in today's event, and we look forward to a great day today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Trudy.
Send it back to Carol.
Thank you, Trudy. I'd also now like to introduce Adit Lotringer, a personal friend of Itzik's, who will be helping conduct the interview today. She is the director of the Israeli American Council in Orlando and is very involved driving to unite the Israeli and Jewish community. So welcome. Thank you for being here, Adit. I want to let everybody know at this time that in order to ask questions, please use the Q&A function. It's located at the bottom of your screen. You can just keep typing questions on. We will keep looking at that, and we will be answering the questions you submitted earlier, and also any questions that you put on now as time allows. So this time I want to just tell you a little bit about our guest today. Itzik Cohen is an Israeli actor, filmmaker, and television producer. He was born and raised in Tel Aviv and graduated with honors from the acting studio at Tel Aviv University. Among his many accomplishments, he has portrayed Laser Wolf in Fiddler on the Roof, Tracy's mom, Edna Turnblood, in Hairspray, for which he won the Broadway World Award, and The King in The King and I. In 2009, he starred in the movie A Matter of Size. Itzik got his international breakout role in 2015 when he was cast as Captain Gabi Ayub in the political thriller television series Fauda. And it is with great pleasure that I welcome Itzik Cohen. Thank you so much for being here.
Well, good afternoon to all of you. It's very, very exciting for me as well. I never did a webinar, especially not with the Federation. It sounds like something from Star Wars, talking with the Federation. Well, it's something to thank Corona for, I think. This.
Yes. A whole new way of doing things.
A whole new way of doing things, of communicating with people all around the world. I know Fauda did a great job in almost every part of the world, and especially in the States, of course, because I don't know how it succeeded so well, because it's very overwhelming for me as well. Because
we're excited.
Yeah, I'm. You know, it's not the start of my career. I'm pretty old, though I don't look like I'm old. I'm
no, you don't. I'm actually gonna, Adit, if you want to unmute yourself. Adit, you're muted. And you were going to talk to Itzik, because Adit has known Itzik for about 20 years, I believe, and she's going to talk about his past with him. Go ahead.
I think he will do it in the best way, but I would like to say, first of all, thank you to our Orlando Federation that always supporting in Israel in so many ways. And when Carol told me, you already did the webinar with unorthodox, and now with the Fauda, I think it's giving us, the Israelis, a lot of proud. When I called Itzik and I said, what do you think about, and he was so thrilled and happy to take part of that. And I told him, you can't believe how Fauda is popular in America. And that makes us so happy. So thank you again, Keith and Carol and Trudy. Nice meeting you from Sarasota. And nice doing a collaboration with cities not far from us, but still.
Not far.
Not so far from us. So I know Itzik for more than 20 years, very lucky to know him. I know Itzik in so many ways. I can tell you, he will tell you all about himself, but I can tell that Itzik a very colorful and unique actor in a way that you can see him acting and laughing your lungs out, and then you can cry and tear, and then you can tell him, how come you were doing those characters and still being so serious? And Itzik, all kind of those actings that, and I've been in most of them, I think almost all of them, including Fiddler on the Roof and others that he participate, and Sarah Shabati and all the others. I think that what's special about you, Itzik, and we want to hear it from you, is that you can change faces and your characteristics in so many ways that people are being so moving by you, and especially on Foudah. Captain Ayub, it's a very rough, and people wrote me questions about how amazing and a rough actor you need to be in order to play. And I know you in your funny way, and Itzik is a great cooker as well, and Itzik is very, very funny. You need to YouTube and Google his name afterwards to get to know him in a so different way. So Captain Ayub gave me the opportunity to see him in a very tough and rough character. So thank you for being here, Itzik. And maybe I will share with them the short video now.
Sure.
Okay.
We have a little short video for everyone.
طيب تعرفوا ايش؟ حلمت انه ابو احمد عايش. عندي بغرفتي تحقيقات وانا انبسطت انه هو عايش، عشان اذا بكون عايش وكلهم بفكروا بميات بنفع نعمل له كل شيء، بنفع نستجوبه زي ما بدنا، نحجزه قد ما بدنا، والاشياء اللي عملنا له اياها بالحلم يا رب العالمين.
What's her name?
Angela. 2 weeks.
Well, wouldn't it make more sense that they would first try to take you out? Why the rush to take him out?
40 years on the job, I don't go looking for sense anymore.
Nor do I. Why do you think I came all the way over here? Because of the general? No, it's you.
What kind of bullshit are you trying to spin here?
I wish it was bullshit, Avram. I really do. But you've been lying to us. The generals had nothing to offer for a while now, so you just went and started making things up. Me and Pe'er are going to escort you tomorrow morning to Israel. There will be an investigation. A tough one.
Je participe juste à la finale des éliminatoires. Pour l'instant, mes chances sont très minces. C'est loin d'être gagné, je vous le dis.
Tarek, nous pouvons t'aider. Toi, tu nous aides, et nous, on t'aide. Et Allah nous aidera tous.
Non. Non, je veux rien avoir.
On s'est compris, toi et moi.
Oui.
Alors, bonne chance pour la compétition. On te croise les doigts.
قولي لجابي إني بعرف إنه اسمه جابي. راح ألاقيه بشكل شخصي وأذبح أولاده وبعدها أعود له.
לא להעיף אותי על זה.
שימו אותו בשב"ח ל-12 שעות. בן אל-אב שרמית.
I truly want to believe that you forging the reports is only a recent thing. Okay, now, these are the latest images from the chemical plant in Al Safir. We really tried, but we couldn't find anything. So, it's pretty damn simple. You bring us the smoking gun you've been promising, and you live. You don't deliver. Allah يساعدك.
Quand ta couverture, c'est d'être le petit ami des TJ sous le nom de Russell, papa.
Non, 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 papa, non, je vais pas en Israël, d'accord? J'ai pas envie d'aller en Israël.
Si ton père te dit, t'es triqué pour papa. T'es gay pour papa.
Maintenant, c'est mon père qui veut que moi je sois gay.
Oui. Oui, papa a besoin que tu sois gay. Ebné.
So, Itzik, with being so colorful and multicultural, French and Arabic and Hebrew and English, the stage is yours. And thank you for being here with us.
I just want to say, first of all, that I don't know Arabic at all.
Really?
And I don't know French. I just know Hebrew and English. And most of my career happened by chance or by mistake, if you like it, because I didn't really want to be an actor. I just wanted to be a hairdresser, which I learned to be a hairdresser. And after 2 months in a salon, I told my neighbor, who was acting teacher, that I cannot longer sweep the floor from here. So she told me, so go and be an actor. Go to Tel Aviv University, and I think you'll be a great actor. And that's what happens. So most of my career really happened by chance, because I never intended to be an actor.
Wow.
And my first success after finishing the university, I became a drag queen for 4 years. And that's how I got very, very famous in Israel.
Wow.
But I wasn't that drag queen, you know, in small bars that have a small cup for change. No. We were like very, very successful for 4 years all around Israel. We've been in every TV
Is it like
show.
a group of you?
A group, yeah, that I founded. And after 4 years, I decided I'll go back to my intention to theater and then TV. And my career was very, 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 I always say it's like, I never knew where I'm going to land, because I was a drag queen. I did Dancing with the Stars.
Wow.
I played the sumo wrestler. I played in so many musicals, comedy. And when Fauda came in, it was by mistake as well, because the director of the first season, Asaf Bernstein, is a close friend of mine. And he told me, I want you, there's a new series I'm directing, and I want you to be the Shabak interrogator. And of course, everybody said, you want the drag queen to be a Shabak interrogator. And he said yes. And he said yes. And he said, I'm going to give you an audition that only you can pass. I said, okay. Well, he said, well, I'll give you a 6 pages monologue in Arabic. And I'm sure no one will be able to do that as well as you. And that's what happened. I got like this six pages of monologue in Arabic, and I came with another like 35 actors, and I'm the only one that ended the monologue that knew it all by heart. And
so did you actually learn Arabic, or you just memorized it?
I memorized. I'm just memorizing Arabic. I'm sitting like a parrot on my porch, and saying my text over and over and over again.
That's amazing.
But thank you. But I always like to improvise and ad-lib on my text, even in Arabic. And you know, there's of course an English version on Netflix that's dubbed by a friend of mine who told me, listen, like 30% of what you're saying isn't in the script. And I know you can ad-lib in Hebrew, but how the hell you can ad-lib in Arabic? Well, I said, well, I'm asking the other actors who speak Arabic how to say that and how to say this, because I like to add some joke and make every role I'm portraying mine. Because
so in English, did we get that part, or did we miss that if we watched it with the English dubbing?
No, you get everything.
Okay.
You get everything. You get everything. But the small jokes, Captain Ayub has always little jokes that are not in the text, of course, because it's a very, very intense series, and I like to lighten it up a bit.
Mm-hmm. That couldn't have been easy in that show.
Yeah.
Well, it was funny because somebody did actually ask a question that your Arabic seems so perfect, and they wanted to know if you took classes beforehand, but I think you, so it's amazing that people thought you spoke it very well.
No, I have a tutor, I have a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
I'm working on my lines with him. I'm recording him saying it, and then I memorize it and give it. Well, I found that when I speak in a very low pitch, my Arabic sounds so much better, because this is my real pitch. But when I'm portraying Captain Ayub, then Alan, you know, everything comes that way. He is very, very persuasive with his voice as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I try to make him very, very human, not so tough.
Right.
Because he really loves all the person he speaks. He loves of course his friends from Foudah. He loves Doron, and he loves Ellie and everyone. But he also loves the person that he interrogates.
So that's interesting. It leads me to a question that somebody asked: is the empathy that Gabby shows at times for the Palestinians genuine, or was it more of a manipulated kind of nature?
That's a big question. It's a very good question, because when we talked about Captain Ayub, the main feature of him was that he was an actor. He's like an actor. He's portraying his empathy, but I don't think he of course he does it to take out the stuff he wants from the person he interrogates, but I think he really feels empathy. So it's very, very confusing.
Mm-hmm.
It does that in order to deliver the goods he needs, but it's real, it's genuine.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time I'm like very, very into the person I'm talking with or interrogating. And making Foudah is a very, very emotional experience in a way. Because, you know, when you do a series in Israel, when you film something in Israel, it's not like you have a big trailer for each actor. Everything, it's like in a war zone. Shooting Foudah is like being in a war zone.
Mm-hmm.
It's always too hot, the budget is very low and you never have enough time. So the most popular word on set is yalla. Yalla in Arabic means let's go forward.
Yalla.
Let's do another scene. So you don't have any time. So you have to be very, very focused on what you're doing and very prepared.
So that leads me, we had lots of questions in many different forms about how realistic was the show. Can you talk a bit about that?
Well, when Lior Raz, the co-writer and the person who invented Fauda, wrote it with Avi Sascharov, he was in a unit like Fauda. But of course, it's a lot of fiction. It's based maybe on some things that really happened in reality, but it's mostly fiction. So we don't tell any secrets of Israel on that show that other people doesn't know.
So did you yourself have to do any kind of research on Israeli intelligence before you started working on Foudah?
Well, luckily I didn't. I usually don't do any kind of research. I'm just researching into the words, and I'm like making my characters up in my own mind. So I never met someone from the Shabak or the Shabas or whatever. And the second thing you saw in the video that Edith showed us is from a movie with Sir Ben Kingsley. And then I portrayed the head of the Mossad. Of course, I got it because of Fauda, because I never held a gun in my life, not even in the army.
Wow. How would you say this series has been received by residents of the Palestinian Authority, Gaza, and Israeli Arabs?
Well, it's so funny because last week I was asked to do a video to the one who's in charge of what's his name? Sorry again. You know Abu Mazen from the Palestinian Authority. Mm-hmm. Well, his right hand, his PA, asked me to do him a video for his birthday. That's how the influence is immense, because, you know, on Netflix, Fauda is #1 in Lebanon, in the United Emirates. Everybody sees it. Mm-hmm. So it's a big phenomenon.
It seems even personally, I felt especially by the end of the third season, you realize that the lines cross. Sometimes the Israelis are not so good. You feel sorry for the other side. So I think a lot of people had those kind of feelings.
That's the power of Fauda, because it shows the conflict in a very human way. You can see the problems of the both sides. No one is good and no one is bad. They're just people.
Right. I'm going to read a rather long question, but I want to read the whole thing. Captain Ayub's relationship with Abu Maher is not only one of the highlights of Fauda, but it has inspired many American Jews, and I'm sure many others around the globe as well, to research and ask questions about the real-life interactions between the Palestinian Authority and Israeli security forces. What is it like playing a character whose role transcends the show and is helping educate a global public that largely looks at the Israeli-Arab conflict as black and white?
Well, first of all, it's a real big honor, because we didn't know what we were doing in the first season. We didn't know the impact of it. We just did it because it was perfectly written and the roles were fabulous. But then after, the second season, of course, for the third season, we already knew what's the impact of that. And me and Abu Maher, and the guy who's portraying Abu Maher, have such a very close relationships between us, when you're on set and when you're doing when you're eating lunch. So the connection, we try to make it very, very genuine, as it is in real life in Israel, because the person who is corresponding with the other person in the Palestinian Authority has to be very, very sincere with his intentions, and everything has to be in full cooperation in order to really connect.
People have asked if you would have considered playing a Palestinian role in the show.
In this show, well, it was taken already. I cannot.
No, meaning if
switch.
you had been offered, I think if you were offered that instead of Captain Ayub, would you have done that?
I think it depends on the role. I think it depends on the role. I will certainly not portray a person who kills innocent people.
Mm-hmm.
Not in a million years. Because I have a way that even if I'm portraying the villain, people like me. And I don't want people people who kills children and innocent people.
That's fair. The entire cast all seem like such a tight-knit, close team when we watched them on the show. Was it like that off the set as well?
Yes, it is. It is. It's like a very big, crazy family. You know, there was this scene that it showed us with me and Walid. Walid is looking at the camera and says, "Gabi, I know you're listening to me." And the script said, the original script said, "Gabi, listen, I know you're listening to me. I'm going to kill you." And for that, Gabi, Captain Ayub, should burst and go and start beating Walid. And during during lunch, I told the guy who portrayed Walid, I told him, "Don't say I will kill you, Gabi. Tell him I will kill your kids." Because otherwise, I thought that Captain Ayub wouldn't be in such rage, because he's not afraid for his life, but for his kids' life, of course, he's very, very afraid. And he told me, "But it's not in the script. Let's tell it to the director." I said, "He doesn't know Arabic as well. Just say it." And that's the scene. I love that scene very much.
That's very cool. I'm just trying to look at some questions. I'm sorry. I know what I wanted to ask you about when you were shot. How was that? Like, was that very difficult doing that scene?
Yeah, because it was the first time that I did like a very powerful and action scene. I don't like to fall down on the floor and to be dragged on the asphalt. It was very, very tense.
Mm-hmm.
And I, as an actor, well, I try never to act. I try not to act at all. I try to really be in the moment. And if something is very, very emotional, I usually, you can see it in my eyes, my heart starts pumping much faster because of the tension. And it was very, very, very intense, that part.
In fact, I'm looking, they actually asked if it was hard to sleep at night while you were doing that. So that makes sense.
Well, when you know, shooting days start very, very early. They pick you up at around 4 a.m. And till sometimes like 7 p.m. And then I'm going to a show, and then I have like 3 hours to sleep and all over again. These are very, very busy days.
Very long days.
Very long days, yeah.
Was it hard to learn to walk with a cane?
To walk with a cane? No. I did so many parts with a cane. I did all kinds of parts as an old man, so I'm used to the cane. Well, Avi Sascharov and Lior asked me if I want a cane or something around my neck. I say, no, it's too hot. Nothing around my neck. Give me a cane.
Adit, do you want to read some of the questions from here?
Yes, the question that I received were about you, Itzik, personally, in a way. One of the questions was, what was the hardest part that you did the 3 seasons? Like, what was the hardest part, maybe for you, to learn how to act it, or in a personal way, like something that you thought that you will never be able to do, or it was hard for you even though that I know nothing is hard for you. But getting in a way that maybe like you said, if we're talking about kids or something, like took you 2 days to understand the concept or the part. That was one of the questions.
Well, I think most of my work for me is like learning my lines, because it's not in my native language. So learning Arabic is, most of the part is for me just learning the lines, because I'm very connected with my emotions. I don't have any problems like to deliver them. But when you have to do it in a different language, that's the most hard way. And of course, the first episode of season 3, the one that I got shot was pretty intense, because you have to do everything like 20 times, 25 times, to fall all over again, to shout, to get hit by the bullet. But and the most difficult emotional part was talking to Abu Maher's wife after he dies. And I hope it's not a spoiler. You've seen it already. So
other people haven't, but oh well.
Oh well. Sorry. You had enough time. You had enough time to binge Fauda. Yeah.
Adit, do you have anything else?
The other question that someone asked me is going to be a season 4, of course, when they're going to film it, and if you can give us some information.
Well, of course I cannot, because they just started to write this season 4, and they don't consult with me about what they're going to write. And of course the expectations are very, very high. So the first part of writing season 4 is like to really invent a new, very exciting plot. And on top of that, just after that, they're writing the dialogue. So I don't know nothing. And I don't know when it's going to, but well, another 1.5 years, of course.
Wow. And hopefully you'll continue to be alive in the show.
Yeah, of course, of course.
We don't want anything happening, for sure.
No, me neither. Me neither.
I see one of the questions here is that there was a running joke in the first and second season. Now, wait, they just moved this on me. Did we ask that question? I didn't, now it's gone. Oh, no, here it is. Okay, there is a running joke in the first and second season where whenever you were on the phone, your character was telling his son to get something to eat. Was that in the script? And why did that joke stop in the third season?
Well, some of them were on the script, of course, because I'm usually cooking to my kids, and I tell him, don't put it in the microwave, you will ruin it. Don't put ketchup on my steaks, please, you'll ruin it. This is the kind of jokes that entered the first and the second season. In the third season, just after Captain Ayub got shot, he tells Doron that he told his kids he's abroad, he's outside of Israel, and that's why he didn't call them at all.
Oh, okay. So that changed everything.
Yeah, that changed everything.
So I have a question. When we were watching here, I guess it was especially, I guess, in the third season when they kept coming across with the bombs to try to plant the bombs in Israel. We kept commenting how easy they kept going back and forth across the border. Is that reality? And what is it like to, I mean, obviously for anyone who's Israeli, I can't even imagine what it must be like to live and know that people could just come with bombs like that. But how realistic was that, the ease that they went back and forth?
Well, it's very realistic, because terrorism is like Corona. Most of the time you can't see it. You can just feel the impact of it. So it's pretty pretty like it's in reality, in Israel's reality.
It's very, very scary.
Yeah.
And the other thing we wondered, where Daron, his father's home, seemed to be right where there were a lot of Arabs living. Like, where was that? Where is that taking place?
Somewhere in the south of Israel. I don't know really where it is, but it's a farm, not very far from Gaza.
Mm-hmm.
Not very far from Gaza. And you know, there are many places in Israel when Arabs and Jews live side by side. That's why the conflict is so complex.
Mm-hmm. Not easy.
Not easy at all.
So apparently people want to know why you never held a gun while you were in the army.
I don't know, because I was doing things on the computer. So of course I had a rifle when I was, how do you say, tironut? I don't remember, but I never got to use that. I never got to use that because I was working with the computers during my army service.
Not all the soldiers in Israel having guns.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, just for you to know, it's not.
Okay.
And on top of that, every time that the prop man on set tells me, well, you have to have a gun, he said, well, I never have a gun. Gabi Ayub never had a gun on him on the set. Because I said, well, I have the neck mic. It's fine with me. I don't need another thing on me.
Also, somebody would like to know, how long from start to finish does it take to film a season of Fauda?
There are, for each season, there are 60 days of shooting, which means 5 days per episode.
Wow. That's not a long time.
Yeah.
No, not at all.
No.
Not at all. Not at all. Because usually when you film action movies, usually you can film 1 minute of screen time a day. Mm-hmm. In Fauda, they do something like 8 minutes a day. Wow. Which is like very, very fast.
There probably are not a lot of retakes.
Not a lot.
I received an interesting question, Itzik. Someone asked, if not acting Captain Ayub, which part you will take? And the other question is, any plans to do American movies?
Which part would I be able to? I don't know. I never think about.
If like giving you the script now, season 1, and asking you not doing Captain Ayub, now that you know the characters, which one you will choose? Do you think will be no?
None of them.
Getting to know you, I will set Captain Ayub for sure.
Captain Ayub, of course. And am I planning to do something in America? Well, I'm waiting for my close-up, Mr. DeMille. I'm waiting for the calls, of course. I have an agent in LA, and I hope that someday I'll come. Sure.
And that's, in fact, somebody, I do have a question about that. Well, a few of them that relate it. Do you have an, I guess you have an agent, but at what point, they asked, did you decide to sign with an agent? Or obviously you're not independent, you just told us you have an agent, but how long did it take maybe before you got an agent?
Well, it really, when I decided that I'm going to have an agent in LA, I just came to LA and went to a very nice meeting with a guy named Ben Levine from Link Agency, and that was it. That was it.
Easy.
Yeah, easy.
And I had told you about this question. You said you would answer it, so I'm going to ask you, as a screenwriter, how can you get the attention of a producer?
How can you get attention? Wow, it's a very big question. First of all, you have to have a lot of chutzpah. You know that what chutzpah means. Mm-hmm. You have to have a lot of nerves, and you really need to believe in what you're doing, and to believe in yourself, because this is a very, very fluid way of life, being an actor. So you must have a very strong center that tells you you're doing the right thing. And I always tell my, when I'm giving lectures to all around Israel, that you really have to see what you're going to do, to imagine that and to ask for it from God or from the universe or whoever you believe in, and really to pray for what you're doing, for what you want to do. That's what I do.
And it's work.
Yeah, it is. It is.
We have a question.
I have to say, Carol, he's getting a lot of compliments. אתה מעולה, Itzik, like you're amazing, Itzik. We love you. We appreciate your heart. כל הכבוד. Like a lot of compliments, and you deserve them all.
Oh, yeah.
Do you have any upcoming projects besides Fauda? It's a question. And were any of the actors Israeli Arabs? Many of the actors Palestinians? I'm not sure about it, but there are some questions about that as well.
No, the actors, the Arab actors are Israeli Arabs, not Palestinians. They all live like inside Israel. I have all kinds of projects. I'm like, Corona stopped everything, because I was in the middle of doing 2 musicals and a big comedy, and everything like stopped in a day. I hope that not long from now I'll be able to go back on stage. I'm going to do. There was a film called The Women's Balcony, an Israeli movie called The Women's Balcony, which also was in the States, in all kinds of cinemas, and now we did a TV show from that. That's going to be on Israel. And the last week I just did something for Jerusalem Day. And a guy called me like 4 days ago that I have to, someone got sick and I have to portray a Hamas prisoner. So that's what I did for the last few days. I played the Hamas prisoner, but it's a comedy. It's a comedy.
It's a comedy.
It's a comedy.
It's hard to imagine that as a comedy.
It's a comedy. It's a comedy.
That's funny.
Yeah, it's a comedy. It's about prisoners in Israel prison, 4 Arabs that I'm playing the older one, and the all other 3, the young Hamas prisoners, they like want to be vegans, and they want to, and they're like kidnapping one of the, how do you say, soher? They're kidnapping one of the wardens, they say, in order to get Netflix. So it's a comedy.
I can't wait to see it. A lot of people want to know, they said there's so much smoking on the show. Do you smoke when you're not acting?
Unfortunately, I am, but not as much as on screen. Mm-hmm. Not. Well, I started smoking for how do you say, for a comedy on stage. Mm-hmm. The director asked me, and I got hooked.
And that's it.
But I'm smoking like 5 cigarettes a day, which is not
saying a word.
Okay.
Excuse me. Where in Israel is Foudah filmed, like the city scenes? It's a question.
Well, there is a village called Kfar Kasem, which is not very far from Tel Aviv. They also filmed it in Jaffa. And the part that when they filmed Gaza wasn't, of course, in Gaza. It was somewhere in the south called Tze'elim. Mm-hmm. Well, we don't use studios. It's all real sets. But when we filming in Kfar Kasem, which is an Arab village, all the people of the village want to be on set. And of course, they bring us food and they just want to be a part of Fauda.
That's so funny. So
Yeah.
when you filmed on the West Bank, though, that was there. Where, no.
Not the West Bank, not at all.
Okay. Okay. So what we were seeing when they would show all those shots of
The shots, the views were of the West Bank. They used how do you say the things that like fly and can
the drones.
The drones. Unlegal drones took those pictures.
I had just said, I kept looking at that. Never having been there, I was just shocked that it was such a large city, like in Ramallah and all that. And I had been telling Keith, who just got back not long ago from that area, that I think there was one line where they said, "I'll meet you in front of the Four Seasons in Ramallah." And I'm like, what? The Four Seasons? It's not what I never in a million years would think that. Yes, that was shocking to me. So I didn't know if you were really there or not. I'm looking to see what else. Would you ever consider going on Rupaul's Drag Race? I'm reading the question. That wasn't mine.
Well, I consider everything if I like it. I don't have any boundaries in my mind of what am I going to do next.
We'll have to let Rupaul make sure he knows about you.
Yeah.
Did you know any of the other actors before the show started?
Well, I knew only few of them.
Mm-hmm.
I knew Ronali Shimon, who's doing Nurit from the theater. And I knew Yuval Segal, who's doing Moreno, which died at the start of the second season. That's about it.
We have a fairly long question that I haven't even read the whole thing, but I will just read it to you. Fouda is spectacular. Looking forward to season 4. 2 questions. How close to Shin Bet or other Israeli experiences is Fouda in your view? And second, given the degree of hostility and anger between Israelis and the militant Palestinians however you wish to view, what do you think of the prospects for a rapprochement between us and the Palestinians?
Well, I can tell it from the view of a production, because, you know, we were like Jewish actors and Arab actors. Mm-hmm. And when there is one cause that is the production and one leader that is the director, so everything works together perfectly. Mm-hmm. I think that collaboration will be available when the leaders will decide that that's what they want to do. If someone will decide what's the goal of this process, or will be driven to do peace, it will happen. You just need to have one goal and a true leader to do that. Because, yeah.
Do you watch Fouda with your family? If so, what is their reaction to the show?
Well, to be honest, I didn't watch Fouda. Really, I saw the first season and a part of the second season.
That's
it? It's too hectic for me. I cannot go to sleep afterward. It's too much for me. It's really too much for me. And I know the plot, so I know what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. That's the same reason why I didn't watch Titanic. It sank at the end.
You're very funny. So you had said to me the other day that when you were filming, you didn't always know what was going to happen. But then, were you there for all of the filming? So is that why you ended up knowing what was going to happen?
No, but I get the script, so okay. And I know what I'm talking about when I talk about this character or what happens to that character. I know what happens.
Did you know before you shot a scene what the end result was, or? Okay.
Well, it's very, very funny, because when I'm doing Arabic scenes, I usually don't know what the partner is telling me. So my director asked me, so how do you know when to speak? And I said, when he shuts up, I'm talking. That's it.
Wow. That's pretty
That's
funny.
called, it's called acting, you know.
Right. You're acting.
That's acting.
Let's see what else. Can you tell us a little bit more about yourself, what you did in the Army? How was your COVID quarantine experience as the Fauda season 4 was released on Netflix? This is all one question. Do you think quarantine impacted how well received this season was? Seemed like more people were watching and learning about that now.
Well, first of all, I think COVID-19 is a virus by Netflix. They invented the virus so that everybody would binge all the series they have. Well, quarantine here in Israel wasn't that bad as in the rest of the world, because if you think about COVID as a hit, well, it didn't catch in Israel.
Mm-hmm.
It's not such a big hit here in Israel. And you know, Israelis don't usually do what they're supposed to do.
Right. They don't follow directions.
Not. They know what to do. Don't tell me to. Well, we were good. We were good. So everything really turned out for the best in Israel. But it was pretty hard just, you know, to stop everything I did.
Mm-hmm.
But what I did here is, well, I cooked like a meshige all day long.
What's
Cooking
your favorite thing?
Well, desserts. That's that's my specialty.
Well, that's pretty good. What Israeli TV shows do you like to watch or stream or binge or whatever?
Israeli TV shows, well, I saw Unorthodox,
Mm-hmm.
which I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I liked it very much. But usually my kids are just using the TV. I'm just not. I swear to God, I didn't remember a thing I saw before COVID because I didn't.
No time.
No time. No.
Speaking of time, what do you like to do in your spare time?
Well, mostly to have friends with me, to cook for them, to have a gathering with friends. That's my and I like to paint and
some artwork by Captain Ayub.
Yeah, and I like my naps.
That's definitely a good thing. I think that's a guy thing. I don't know.
I have in the middle of the day just to have a small nap.
Mm-hmm. That's always good.
Yeah.
Let's see. We have time. We'll do one more question. In the third season, when your character was in rehab and the doctor pulled the gun, was there ever any talk that Captain Ayub would be killed? Because that would have crushed me.
Well, this was a very, very funny scene because the guy who was supposed to be my physiotherapist and was supposed to kill me was a non-actor, because the actor that was supposed to be on the set the same day got sick. So someone just popped in, and I really had to teach him what to do. So I just slapped him for 25 times in order to get him into what he was supposed to do.
And that worked.
And that worked. And the guy who did the recording and everyone on the set just put towels inside their mouth so they wouldn't laugh.
God, that's very funny. I know I said that was the last one, but I just saw one that I want to finish with, and that is, why do you think that Foudah has had such an impact outside of Israel?
Well, I cannot answer that.
Well, we lost. Did we? Oh, I thought we lost you.
No, you didn't. I cannot understand why the impact is so immense, but I think the thing is, when you do an authentic thing, when something is authentic, that's the word, authentic,
Mm-hmm.
authentic.
Authentic.
authentic. When you do authentic things, they usually have a lot of impact worldly. And when Avi Saskharov and Lior Raz wrote this series, they wrote it from their hearts and about things they knew. It was authentic for them.
Right.
And that's why when you see Fauda, you feel like you see a true story, which is it. It is a true story. And that's what I'm trying to do as an actor, to be very authentic with everything I do.
Well, we think you're amazing, and we want to say, so from all of us, thank you so much for spending an hour with us. It was an absolute treat, a pleasure. Thank you, thank you. Thank you also, Edith, and Trudy, and Keith, and my team back who don't have their pictures up, Yael and Paul, thank you so much. And thank everyone for coming. And just again, it's a thank you. And I hope in the future maybe get a chance to meet you if I can get to Israel.
He will come to Orlando. I'll bring him to Orlando.
I love it.
That would be great.
I will. I want to thank everyone for the donation for the Federation. It's very, very important and very helpful to every and each one of us here in Israel. Thank you for your support. It really means a lot to us.
And thank you again. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.